The courtroom was heavy with silence, the kind that seemed to choke the air itself. Every seat was filled, cameras flashing at the back, reporters scribbling, soldiers in uniform standing stiff near the exits. In the center of it all stood Sergeant Mira Kane, hands cuffed, her uniform jacket still on, a defiant calm resting on her face. She was on trial for disobeying a direct order, an act that had allegedly cost lives during an overseas mission. The prosecution had painted her as reckless, undisciplined, a rogue soldier who thought herself above command. But to anyone who truly knew her, Mira Kane was a legend, though that part of her story had been buried deep under classified files. The presiding judge, Colonel Judge Raymond Holt, cleared his throat. "Sergeant Kane, before we continue with the verdict, remove your jacket. Protocol requires visible identification for sentencing." There was a murmur across the courtroom. Mira didn't move at first. Her lips pressed into a faint smile, not of arrogance, but of quiet resignation. Two MPs stepped forward. "It's fine," she said softly, unbuttoning the jacket herself. The fabric slipped off her shoulders, revealing a simple black undershirt beneath. But what caught everyone's attention wasn't the shirt, it was the tattoo inked on her upper arm. The moment the judge saw it, his gavel slipped from his hand and clattered against the wood. Gasps filled the room. The symbol, a winged dagger encircled by 7 stars, wasn't just any tattoo. It was the emblem of Phantom Division, a covert elite unit that officially didn't exist. Judge Holt's eyes widened in disbelief. "That mark, impossible," he whispered. "Phantom Division was disbanded." One of the prosecution lawyers stammered, "Your Honor, that's just..." Silence. The judge barked, his voice trembling for the first time. He leaned forward, studying her face. "Sergeant Kane, or should I say, Commander Kane of Phantom Division." Whispers erupted among the audience. The defense attorney looked as stunned as anyone. Mira met the judge's gaze calmly. "I didn't want this revealed, sir. The mission files were classified. I took the blame because it was the only way to protect what's left of my team." The courtroom fell completely silent. Even the sound of cameras stopped. The judge's trembling hand reached for the file in front of him, the one marked confidential access, level 5. He flipped it open, and there, under the layers of redacted text, was the clearance code bearing Mira's name. The same code used by the highest echelon of military intelligence. He exhaled shakily. "This trial is dismissed. Sergeant Kane, you are free to go." The audience erupted, half in disbelief, half in awe. Reporters stood stunned, their stories suddenly obsolete. Mira simply put her jacket back on, gave the faintest nod, and walked out of the courtroom, her past no longer hidden, her legend reborn in the open. And as she passed the stunned officers, one whispered, "Phantom Division lives." Outside the courthouse, the rain fell in cold, steady sheets. Reporters shouted questions, cameras flashed like lightning, and soldiers whispered her name as she passed. Mira Kane, once disgraced and forgotten, walked through the chaos with calm purpose, every step measured, every breath steady. The verdict was freedom, but she knew it came with a cost. Secrets that had stayed buried for years were now unearthed. The Phantom Division's existence had always been denied, and now, because of one tattoo, it was back in the world's memory. As she reached the steps, a black SUV pulled up. No license plate, tinted windows. The driver didn't say a word, just gave her a short nod. Mira hesitated for a second, then opened the door and slid in. Inside, sat a man in a dark suit, his face shadowed under the glow of the dashboard light. His voice was low, gravelly, one she hadn't heard in a long time. "Didn't think you'd reveal the mark, Commander." Mira's eyes flickered toward him. "Didn't plan to. The judge forced my hand." The man smiled faintly, though his expression stayed hard. "You always did hate playing defense." She turned toward the window, watching the courthouse fade into the distance. "Why am I here?" He handed her a sealed black envelope. The paper felt heavy, official, yet ominously simple. Stamped across it was a single word, reactivation. Mira didn't open it immediately. "I thought Phantom Division was finished." "Officially, yes, but you know how command works, ghosts never really stay dead." Her jaw tightened. The memories rushed back. The night raids in unmarked territories, missions that never made the reports, teammates who vanished into silence. Phantom Division wasn't just elite, it was invisible, used when the military needed something done that no one could ever admit to. She broke the seal. Inside was a single photograph, grainy surveillance footage of a man in uniform shaking hands with a known arms dealer. Beneath it, Coordinates. Then a short line written in bold ink. Your team is compromised. One still alive. Her heartbeat quickened. Who? The man's eyes softened for a fraction of a second. Major Ellis. He's waiting for you. Mira leaned back, closing her eyes briefly. Ellis had been her second in command, the one she thought had died on their final mission. If Ellis is alive, she whispered, then this isn't over. The SUV stopped at a private airfield, its runway slick with rain. A small military transport plane waited, engines humming. Mira stood at the open door, rain hitting her face. She turned to the man. Tell command they'll regret reactivating Phantom. He gave her a sharp nod. They already do. She climbed aboard, and as the plane lifted into the stormy sky, the lights of the city faded below. Mira Kane was no longer a defendant or a soldier, she was once again commander of the Phantom Division, answering a call that should never have been made. The ghosts were rising again.